Hi everybody, I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to make this ATC, Artist Trading Card, that I like to call Lady of the Sea. So I'm just going to walk through some of the steps for you as quickly as I can, but to still give you an idea of how to achieve some of these effects. And here we go. It's going to be casual. I'm just going to hold the camera with my left hand and point with my right hand. So let's see how this works out, okay? So this ATC, Lady of the Sea. I like to start with grunge board, and grunge board is this really great material. It's kind of like chipboard, but it's very flexible and very soft, and it takes paint really well. So I've cut it down to ATC size, which is 2.5 by 3.5. And the first thing I've done is I've painted it with one coat of acrylic paint. I like to use Liquitex acrylic paints, and I started with this darker blue, and I just took a brush and painted it with one coat, let it dry. Sometimes I like to use a heat tool to speed up the drying process. After the background is dry, then I'm going to add another color of blue on top. What I've done is I've taken a lighter shade of blue with some iridescent white, and I've taken about an equal amount of each, and I've blended them together. And it's really important to add a lot of water to this particular technique because you want this to be particularly soupy because you're going to be sponging a lot of it off to get a certain kind of glimmery effect. So once you mix your paint, you're going to come back over here and you're going to very quickly paint the lighter blue on top of the darker blue, a very nice thin coat. And when you're done, you're going to sponge it right off. Okay, so you're just going to go pop, 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 and you can use a cosmetic sponge or even a wadded up paper towel. And you can see how I've sponged it more on this side, and I didn't sponge it on this side, but you can see just how light that coat is. Okay, so you want to sponge it all down, and when you're all done, you'll end up with this nice, smooth, shimmery blue where it's a little dark on the underneath and a little light on top, and it's got that nice iridescence that comes from the white paint. Now if you don't do the blotting, you could also try just smudging it. Instead of mixing it with a lot of water, just mix it straight, just the paints, and then you could get more of an effect like this where you paint on the blue and it's a little thicker, and so you just smudge it and instead of blotting it, and allow some of it to stay on. That's with a little more and that's with a little less. I'm trying to get it so the glare doesn't bother you. So that gives it an interesting sort of watercolory effect too. So you've got your card, and now I'm going to stamp an image on it, and I chose this particular art stamp. She reminds me of Aphrodite, and I'm stamping her intentionally crooked on the card. I'm using my blue stamp pad, and I'm stamping her crooked on the card, and she's going to look like this. Okay. And then I put a teardrop. You can see that here. I used the paper glaze to do that, Aileen's paper glaze. And I just took, starting at the bottom, and just dragged it to the top so it looked like a perfect teardrop. And now I'm going to embellish her, and I've got a lot of different things that remind me of the sea to do that with, and all along I'm using this paper glaze. It's great not only as a glaze or a laminate, but it's also great for adhering beads and glass and glitter, and it leaves things really, really nice and clear, and it holds really well. So I do love the paper glaze, and it has a really nice pointed tip for a detailed application. So in the craft store, in the aisle where they sell mosaics, I got some of this really terrific broken glass, and it's actually safe to handle because the edges have been sanded, but it really looks like sea glass, and it's really fun to work with. In the aisle where they sell the glass painting kits, they have these little tiny glass beads that are a little larger than a glitter, a little larger than the micro beads that you get in the scrapbooking aisle. I really like these glass beads. And so I put the paper glaze down in the area that I want to embellish with beads and broken glass. And as you can see on my sample here, I put some beads in the corner, and I put some broken glass here. I also stamped this shell Aphrodite, of course, came out of a shell like this, according to Greek legend. So I stamped this with white ink, and then I used a white embossing powder, and I heat set that, and I also let some of the powder fall onto the stamped blue image before that dried, and I kind of liked it like that because it looked like sand. It looked like she had sand all over her face, like she just came out of the sea. And the last embellishment that I want to show you is this. This is called Luchador. It's in a 100% polyester sheet. It comes in sheets, and it also comes on the roll, but you can learn more about it on my blog. And Luchador is, I just cut a little piece of it, and it's this polyester. It's kind of like an interfacing, but it's a really great art surface, and I love to paint on it and stamp on it, but it's also really fun to burn. Who doesn't like to burn stuff, right? So you come over here to a candle, and you very, very carefully tap it to the flame, and you can see immediately it starts to melt and shape. Okay, and then if you tap it to the flame on the surface, and you don't even have to barely touch the flame, you can get this sort of lacy effect, and you can burn holes in it. I don't know if you can see that, but when you're all done, you can get these really great fun little pieces of what I think look like the flotsam and jetsam that runs around in the ocean, and you can dab a little paint on it or a little chalk ink and create this fun little collage piece here. And on this one, in the hole here, I tucked some glass beads and glued those in there because I thought that looked kind of fun. So there you have it. That is my Lady of the Sea ATC, and I hope I showed you a few new techniques for your repertoire, and I'll try to post these videos every so often. Thanks so much, and I hope you'll visit my blog. Take care.